From video gaming to video training for the U.S. Air Force, students in the pilot program at Randolph Air Force Base have their new way of getting schooled before they take to the sky.
Eyewitness News reporter Henry Ramos shows us how it works.
I already got you set up on an ILS.
Okay, so at first glance, this looks like a video game.
The sky's the limit when it comes to what we could do with something like this, I think.
And it is all about taking it to new heights for these airmen.
What we really feel is that we're empowered at a level that we've never been before.
Take a closer look. They are training for the future. And boy, how times have changed since these Air Force leaders went through pilot training.
You had a poster of the cockpit on the wall, you had a plunger between your legs, and you had to do what we call chair flies.
A sign of the times, the students in the pilot program have this new virtual reality simulated training.
Students' performance is showing great increases.
The leaders at Randolph explain how this commercial, off-the-shelf software has been a smooth landing in the 6 weeks it's been around.
Less training time required to master a task, more efficient use, more effective use of the time in the aircraft. It's expensive to fly. Fuel's expensive, the wear on the airframe, so if we can cover some of that training here in the virtual reality environment, that's going to save time in the air.
The computer program allows the students to get an almost real-time feel if they were flying. The effectiveness is key.
There's some skills that need to be trained at a lesser level before you put them into that environment. And those skills might be able to be trained here to a lot higher degree than we've been able to do in the past.
The virtual software costs about $4,000. Another plus is being able to get real-time data from the students.
This is really an amazing time for the Air Force.
Henry Ramos, KENS 5.
And for our country as a whole.
Eyewitness News.